it's time for Jejuseta. As mentioned earlier, Jeju is famous for its beautiful scenery and nature.
And Jeju has a mild oceanic climate throughout the year with the smallest annual temperature range in the country, so it's good to live.
If anyone wants to live here in Jeju, please contact us. We're willing to help you.
The final presenter is in the morning session is Ms. Jo Soo-mi of Jeju Science High School in Jeju. She is here to talk about Find Your Voice, how to start debate from zero through metacognitive strategies and communicative activities.
Debate in class is getting more and more emphasized today, so I'm sure that her presentation will give a lot of tips for it. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Ms. Jo Soo-mi.
Good morning. I'm honored to be with you today for this KOSETA workshop. While teaching English, I ask myself, why do I talk so much? Why am I the only one who talks in the classroom? Why do my students keep silent and say nothing? I felt guilty. I feel like this, the switch who stole the Little Mermaid's voice. So I decided to investigate, give their own voice back with debate. Well, yes, I'm fortunate enough to work in science at school, so I get to be surrounded by the students who are polite, brilliant, and eager to learn, especially math and science, not English. Well, don't get me wrong, I'm very proud of them, but debate requires a high level of English skills, and it is too hard even on them. That's why I decided to start debate from the beginning. That's the idea I'd like to share with you today. First, let me ask, what is debate? Well, it's a formal contest where participants should present their arguments and persuade others to win. In this sense, it's a kind of game. That means it could be fun. But we are educators. We need more educational reasons to start debates. Okay, because it has so many advantages. It could be an effective way to develop 4 skills: information literacy, critical thinking, problem-solving skills, and democratic citizenship. There's no end of the benefits. Well, yes, the real question is not why, but how. How can you bring the idea to reality? I found the answer in the learning environment with this. Metacognition, well, it means big thinking. These strategies are about planning, monitoring, and evaluating a learning task. By practicing these strategies, a student can understand the way to process information, taking their thinking to a higher level. Besides, I'm sure students want communicative activities. Well, in real life, people exchange information because of the communicative need caused by information gap. Well, that's why we communicate in real life and in the classroom. I'm sure students will enjoy chatting with these activities in the end. Well, before starting my project, I need to get to know who are they. So I carried out a survey targeting 80 students. This is the checklist on English speaking and debate. Let me show you the results. As you see, my students have less confidence in persuading others than introducing themselves. But they have a little more interest in debate than discussion, fortunately. And they expect to improve English skills, of course, not only listening and speaking, but reading and writing. But as you see, almost half of them didn't expect debates improve their reading and speaking skills. So I had to do something to improve these skills through debate. And to find out my students' learning styles, I used this index. Well, it's an online instrument. You can just Google it. Anyhow, this is the result. See, my students are reflective, intuitive, global, and definitely visual. Almost 90% of them are visual learners, so I introduced pictures, films, and demonstrations. Okay, then let me come back to the starting line. Start debate from the beginning, from scratch. I had these 4 points in mind: metacognitive strategies, communicative activities, for skills, and visual style of learning. And I set up all of this project like this to improve communicative confidence by understanding the whole process of debate. Well, once again, this project is not about debate itself. It's just like having a taste of debate, letting students understand what to do before and after debate. Then let me show you the whole process and the activities briefly. First, they summarized articles using graphic organizers like Fishbone. Next, they evaluated and criticized the topics. Meanwhile, they practiced expressions necessary to explain their opinions or refute others. Also, they understood the importance of preparing predictive counter-arguments and taking notes. Well, see, this student did dictate every single word at first, but gradually he tried to write down just keywords and finally start to use each mark as an arrow. And they evaluated the public speakers using these criteria. They watched clips of presentation on YouTube or TED, which is my favorite. And lastly, they completed their own portfolios, including a short essay. Okay, now let me show you how I brought debate into the classroom with debating activities. These are authentic, I think. Of course, these activities are not the same as debates, but I think these activities are as attractive as debate itself. And most importantly, these are practical. These are very easy for you to try and follow. And I covered up more than 14 debating activities. I adopted these activities, changing, for instance, the rules as well as titles. And my students evaluate these activities based on 3 criteria like this. And see, these 6 activities like speed debating, catch your tongue, scavenger hunt, I believe that I adopt that. First stakeholders debates and 1-minute speeches got the most scores in effectiveness and zest regardless of difficulty. Well, to share with you, I wrote up the manual for the debating activities. Which my students like and I love. These are very easy to follow. This includes such things like what steps they should follow or useful tips for you. Today, I'd like to show you how to do scavenger hunt and stakeholders debate, which are my favorite. For other manuals, please check our books. Well, this is a manual for scavenger hunt to help students improve research skills and summarize their articles. Well, for topics, it can cover various topics from politics to even entertainment. For materials, you should prepare a list of different topics.
Scavenger hunt is a treasure hunt game. Step 1. Each group is given a list of different 15 topics. Step 2. The group searches the articles in the magazines or on the internet. Step 3. Then they post the sources of the articles and the addresses of the website on the school website following the form. Step 4. The team with the most items wins the game. Part 3. Individual work. Step 1. Each student chooses one or two articles posted on the school website. Step 2. They summarize the articles by using graphic organizers. Step 3. They write such comments as "I like it" to the articles they choose.
A tip for you, don't forget to post the keywords of the items on the web before the class. And next, this is the manual for stakeholder debate. Well, I hope your students to understand that debate is about agree to disagree by putting themselves in others' shoes. As for topic, I chose this English-only lectures, in KAIST, but any topic can be used if it includes different stakeholders.
Stakeholder debate is on role play. Step 1. The class reads a new title, English only lecture. Step 2. The class is divided into 5 groups: Korean students, professors, presidents, foreign students, and moderators who are news reporters. Step 3. Each group prepares an argumentation for or against the situation. Step 4. The groups of moderators or news reporters summarize the article by using one of the graphic organizers.
Step 5. All of the students are divided into 3 groups, including a Korean student, a professor, a president, a foreign student, and a moderator or a news reporter. Step 6. Step 7. The groups do an impromptu wordplay or debating without
I have a tip for you. Well, you should set a time limit for this roleplay, otherwise it will be too long or boring. Well, still I'm sure you have a few questions which make you wonder if you try debate or not. Okay, here I have a suggestion for you. First, time. How can you set aside time for debate? Well, why don't you try it in your English conversation classes like I did? Second, participation. You need to involve your co-teachers as well as your students by sharing your ideas with them and asking for their feedback. This is very essential to improve your class. And I'd like to express my thanks to my co-teacher, Mr. Dagan. Thank you. And next, evaluation. It's a very tricky problem, but here's a simple answer. How about portfolio? And as for speaking, 1-minute speeches be good. You can let your students choose the topics covered during the classes. Lastly, winning. Well, actually, I didn't expect I would encounter this problem at all. But sometime one of my students asked me like this: should we choose between two parties, agree or disagree all the time? Is it important to win at any cost? I was shocked. Well, actually, debating activities we decide to agree or disagree, and the incentives offered for students to actively participate may cause misunderstanding about the real purpose of debate. So you should get right. They should understand that it is important to agree to disagree. Understanding others. That's why I prepared stakeholders debate at the end.
Debate can raise our eye level of the knowledge on problems because we have to think a lot before we open up our thinking to others. It can also improve speaking skills demanded in front of audience. We can learn how to respect others and to express our thoughts in a well-organized way by debating. And more than anything else, debating can help raise the deeper comprehension of language used in debating. And I think that's why debating in English is good for being a better English speaker.
Well, how was that? Am I appealing to you to try debate in your own classrooms? Well, debate is worth trying. Why don't you give it a shot for next semester? I think it's spreading to let our students find their voices. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation, Ms. Jo. Thanks to her, we could know how to apply for debating to our English classes.
I'm definitely sure we can change our classes into meaningful classes if we adopt her research. Thank you again.
Now it's time for the question. There is no question on Twitter, so is there anybody who wants to ask a question or comment in the audience? Okay.
Hello, I'm Kim Jin-ju from Sejuseta. It was very impressive that you have applied your debating activities in your class very effectively. And you are from Jeju Science High School, which means that your students' level is much higher than other high schools. Do you think that it is also an effective way to generalize in ordinary high school or even in middle school?
Yes, I think so. Well, actually, my son's English level is not that very high. I think their English skills is intermediate. Other than that, academic high school students. Well, at first of the semester, I suggest my students that, okay, let's start English debate class. Well, my students were shocked. Well, teacher, that's nonsense. We're not foreign language high school students. We can't do that. But as you see, I adopted debating activities and changing the rules for them. And you can apply these debating activities to your own students, changing the rules based on your students' English levels and interest. Thank you.
Another question?
Okay, can you show us the Twitter, please? Kim Soo-yeon teacher, show us Twitter. There's one question on Twitter. Okay, we'll just read. How amazing presentation it is. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not a question. It's really cool contents too. Thank you for your efforts. I did visual genes.
Thank you very much.
My mistake. It is a mistake. Question.
Reputation. And another question. I saw somebody. Yeah. Please go back.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation. And I'm from KOSETA, and my name is Yoon Soo-jung. During the debate, students have to talk a lot, but sometimes there are some passive students who wouldn't talk. So how would you solve these kind of problems?
You mean, how can you deal with passive students?
Yes, some students like to talk, but some other students would just stay quiet and wouldn't participate in the group work or things. So I think there might be some kind of these kind of problems.
Well, I understand the problem, but actually I was surprised to see my students. I mean, their potential. Well, in the stakeholders debate, as you see, did you remember the boy taking part of the President Geist, Snapyo? But actually he was very passive. He didn't say nothing in classes. But see, he was the most passionate student during the classes. And for scavenger hunt, well, it's not the debate itself, but if you try this scavenger hunt activity, you can find some students who are good at researching. Thank you.
Another question? Yeah.
When I was in Busan International Middle School, the kind of debate work is really helpful for me. But even when I transferred to general public high school, I tried to find out one way to help my gifted students to have a debate class, useful debate class, like newspaper club. The stakeholders, it's really wonderful. And we are going on to the world of need. Every teacher will need the kind of speaking and the kind of we should deal with the newspapers or some kind of real novels, and the students autonomously deal with the subjects and the characters' roles. And so it's a little early and very advanced level, but it's our future, and every school has gifted students, and we need some kind of novel clubs or newspaper clubs, so we can use this method very helpfully. Thank you so much.
Yes. Well, see, it's worth trying in your own classrooms. It's worth spreading. Well, as for scavenger hunt activity, well, it's wonderful, I think, because didn't you have tons of magazines like Time or Newsweek or Korea Herald, anything? But I think this activity proves that those are not just for decorations. Decorating for your classrooms, you can use tons of English newspapers and magazines. So I think you should try in your own classrooms. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your sincere answer. Let's give her a big hand once again.